Welcome to a space where the world moves a little slower, from quiet morning walks to the scent of fresh bread and the rhythm of the needles. Let's find the beauty in the simple things together. Make yourself at home. When I sit down to knit, it rarely feels like I'm just making a scarf, a sock, or another project. It's become something more than that. It's a way of slowing down. A way of stepping out of the rush of everyday life and into something quieter, something more intentional. These days, so much of our lives move quickly. There's always another notification, another task, another thing demanding our attention. Sometimes it feels as though the world is constantly asking us to move faster, to produce more, to consume more, to keep up. And yet, knitting asks the opposite of me. It asks me to slow down, one stitch at a time, one row at a time. No shortcuts, no rushing, just steady progress. I think that's one of the reasons I've grown to love handmade things so much. Not because they're perfect, in fact, they're often imperfect. A handmade item carries little reminders of the person who made it. Tiny inconsistencies, small mistakes, moments where a decision was made by human hands instead of a machine. And somehow those imperfections make it more beautiful, more meaningful, more alive. There's also something comforting about participating in a skill that has existed for generations, long before modern conveniences, long before online shopping, long before we could have almost anything delivered to our door. People made what they needed. Clothing, blankets, household items. Not because it was trendy, because it was necessary. When I knit, I sometimes think about all the people who sat by hearths, lamps, fireplaces and kitchen tables doing the exact same thing. Their lives looked very different from ours, yet their hands moved much the same way, stitch after stitch, creating something useful, something warm, something made with care. As I was sitting here knitting tonight, I had a very different plan for how this evening would go. I was going to settle into my chair, work through a few rows, enjoy the quiet, and maybe make a little more progress than usual, but Leia had other ideas. At some point she decided that knitting was far less important than giving her attention. So what was supposed to be a productive knitting session turned into a session of puppy cuddles instead. And honestly, I don't think she was wrong. One of the things a puppy teaches you is that life doesn't always follow the schedule you've imagined. They don't care about your to-do list. They don't care about your plans. What matters to them is the moment they're living in right now. They're tired, they're excited, they want to play, or in Leia's case, they simply want to curl up on your lap and be loved. It's funny how often animals remind us of things we've already known but tend to forget. That not every moment needs to be productive. That sometimes companionship is enough. That sometimes the best thing you can do is stop what you're doing for a few minutes and appreciate the little life sharing your home. When I look back on evenings like this, I know I won't remember how many rows I finished. I won't remember exactly how much progress I made on this project. But I'll remember Leia climbing into my lap. I'll remember the way she settled down once she got the cuddles she wanted. I'll remember how peaceful the house felt in that moment. And those extra memories are worth far more than a few extra stitches. I think modern life can sometimes make us forget how satisfying it feels to create. We spend a lot of time consuming, watching, scrolling, buying. There's nothing wrong with those things in moderation. But creating feels different. Creating asks something of us. It asks for patience, attention, practice. And in return it gives us a sense of accomplishment that's hard to find elsewhere. At the end of a knitting session, I might only have a few more inches completed, but those inches are real. I can see them and I can hold them. I made them, and that feels deeply satisfying. Another thing I love about knitting is that it teaches patience, the kind of patience that's increasingly rare. You can't rush a project, not really. You can knit quickly, but you still have to make every stitch. You still have to move through the process, one step after another. Maybe that's a lesson worth carrying into other parts of life. Not everything meaningful happens quickly. Not every worthwhile goal appears overnight. Sometimes progress is slow, sometimes it feels invisible, until one day you look back and realize how far you come. As I knit tonight, I'm reminded that a good life isn't always built from grand achievements. Often it's built from ordinary moments, a warm drink, a quiet evening, a favourite chair, a project in progress, the sound of rain outside, the comfort of home. These small moments don't always seem important while they're happening, but over time they become the fabric of our lives, the things we remember, the things we miss, the things we treasure. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed lately, perhaps this is your reminder to make something. It doesn't have to be knitting. It could be baking bread, planting herbs, drawing, writing, or mending. Anything that invites you to slow down and create. Anything that reminds you that your hands are capable of making beautiful things. Knitting will still be here tomorrow. There will always be another row to finish, another project to start. But Leia won't always be this small. She won't always need these puppy cuddles. And that's a reminder I try not to take for granted. Sometimes the most meaningful interruptions turn up to be the moments we're most grateful for later. So tonight I'm choosing to enjoy both the knitting and the puppy cuddles. And I hope you're able to enjoy a few simple moments of your own as well. Thank you for spending this quiet time